So it's late right now, but I thought I would bring up a good topic because it's on my mind. And a lot of times it's a topic that goes unnoticed. A lot of times we discuss the American household rate of divorce being 50% and how high that is. But what about families, special needs families? The rate is actually even higher than 50%. And I can unfortunately attest to that because I'm 2 times divorced. And while my divorces were not entirely due to having a special needs child in the household, I think it exacerbated the situation for many reasons. One being that it really takes a unique individual to be able to come into a household where there's a special needs child because the needs increase in several areas. The attention diminishes from them at some points in time to the child a lot of times. So just think, a person has to really be comfortable with giving up or, maybe letting go of their needs and desires at that given moment for the sake of a child that has special needs. As a mom, oftentimes I do have to tend to CJ a lot more than the average child, and it requires a lot of things, and it's physically draining, it's emotionally draining at sometimes. So to then give to someone else, it takes a lot of energy, and you're not an infinite well of energy. So sometimes the other person in the household may have to take a back seat for that moment. And you may be able to, catch up on spending time or make special moments to spend time. But not everyone is willing to be put on hold for that. Also, there are financial reasons why the dynamic is difficult. A special needs child has more expenses because of therapy, doctor's appointments, procedures, equipment. So the expenses go up, the financial strain in the household increases, and as we know, finances are a huge reason for divorce in the first place. So just imagine if that financial obligation is, skyrocketing, then yes, it's going to take, the household's going to take a hit. The marriage may also take a hit. And so this is something I've had to deal with. It really requires that two individuals come together that are strong within themselves, that are complete within themselves, who are not extremely needy. And it really takes a mature individual to be able to come into a household where a child has unique needs and may require more time, more energy of the other spouse. It's something that has to be discussed in the dating phase, I think, and it has to be discussed openly and honestly. So for me, my first divorce was with CJ's biological father. And I think at the time we took a hit because we were not anticipating having a child with special needs. It was a shock. So our prenatal testing did not show that CJ had Down syndrome. So once I gave birth, that's when we found out. So we really didn't have a lot of preparation time, and maybe that would have helped if we were able to prepare mentally for it, but we weren't. So we were kind of hit with this, and on top of that, CJ had a lot of medical challenges. So that we had him early on in our marriage, and then we were hit with being in the hospital for 3 months. And once CJ came home, he still had medical problems, so it was just a lot of stress. And we were young at the time. So to be young, be in our 20s, and to deal with something of such a great magnitude was a lot. And I don't think it was any deficiencies as far as character or the persons involved. I think it was just a lot for two young people to handle early on in marriage. So with that, it came with the bills. The medical bills came, and that was a financial strain. I had to stay up a lot of times with CJ, and so to have the intimate time or to have time to go out, it was decreased and diminished, and that takes a hit in the situation. And then also I've dealt with in situations where, you know, a person may require a lot of time and attention or may not be at the maturity level and really need mothering. And that's another thing, you know, men and women, because you might be a man who's taking care of your child alone and going back into the dating world. You have to make sure that whoever you come in contact with, whether it's a female, male, whoever it is, make sure that they do not require you being a mother to them or a father to them. You're supposed to be a partner, a mate, because if someone's needy on that end, then it's going to be a burden on you, and you're going to be stressed because you may not have an adult partner. You might wind up having another child in your adult child in your household that you have to take care of. So you want to be careful that you're coming into a situation where both people are mature, complete, and whole, and able to give in the situation instead of seeking attention and have all these needs, because it comes down to the kids. And that's what I say in any marriage. So especially when you're dealing with the special needs child, when you're coming into it, make sure that you've gotten all your, you know, going out and doing all the kind of stuff and being selfish and splurging on yourself. Get that out of the way, out of your system. Now, you may later be able to do that, but for a moment of time and for a very long, significant time, you're going to have to divert all of your attention and energy to your child. And that's with any child. Once you get into a marriage and you have children, things do change. I mean, I think we can all attest to that. But just think, you're already giving 100% to a child who is a typically developing child. So when you have a special needs child, you have to give even more attention and time and energy to that child. So, you know, you have to be at a place where you're okay with that. You know that it's your role and that you're comfortable with that role and you're taking it on. For me, I take it on as kind of like a challenge and a gift that I was entrusted with CJ. So I take pride in my situation, and so I'm willing to give to him. I don't look at it as a burden. I don't look at it as, oh, woe is me. I don't look at it as that way. I look at it as it's an honor for me to be able to serve CJ, take care of CJ in the way that I do. And I want a partner that's looking at it the same way, as an honor to be in this household and to be able to contribute to the household. So I just encourage you, because divorce is high. It's a high rate as it is. So within a household where there's, you know, unique challenges, you have to really, really, really have a strong front. And both adults, husband and wife, have to have a strong front to be able to sustain the family, to take care of the child appropriately, and in the process not be drained by the other person and not become resentful. And so it has to be a healthy environment as it is. And you know, if you are, so moms, we usually take on a lot of the nurturing and things like that. You have to be careful too, not to just give to children, and that's regular marriages too, as well as those with special needs families. But you have to make sure that you are giving your husband attention, and the husband, you have to make sure you're giving the wife attention. But there are times where you have to sacrifice, and just be ready to sacrifice. So, you know, I'm not always open and proud to share what my history has been and my experience, but I think that there are people out there that need to know that it happens. It happens, and it's something that is a real challenge and a real issue in special needs families. So, like I said, this is a transparent video blog site, and so I'm going to be open and honest with you of what I've gone through. So if you have any questions, have any tips or advice, you know, if there's some healthy, whole couples that are raising a special needs child, let me know what has worked for you in order to get through those times where you both have to sacrifice and may not have time with one another. And then also for those who have gone through divorce, let me know your experience too in that. Okay? So I will see you next time with whatever topic comes to mind for me, and I hope that this has helped you.